දවස් 30ක්ම unlimited Netflix බලන්න. unlimited data pack එකක් මුළු පවුලටම unlimited fun එකක් අරගන්න. අදම active කරගන්න.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
Tonight, no coincidence. Health authorities laud Sri Lanka's low COVID-19 fatality rate.
Our death rates are not because of any natural thing, but because we are taking every possible efforts to prevent the disease going into vulnerable groups.
Long awaited. Russians among first tourists to arrive in Sri Lanka once the airports reopen for commercial flights.
The 26 arrivals, we have already given the approval for some charter flights. And 3 countries are involved, that's Kazakhstan, Ukraine and Russia.
Getting closer. The great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction to take place tomorrow. Unravelled. Another large-scale drug racket busted.
Main drug trafficker is in Dubai.
All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Sunday, the 20th of December, 2020.
Nava sunlight sakura. Then Dikukal pavathina sakura mal suandin.
Try out our new product range. Celebrate and feel the difference with Bairaha.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhammika Kanayaka. Let's start with your local stories. Now, several areas in the island which were under isolation will be freed tomorrow at 5 a.m. This was conveyed by the Department of Government Information this evening, adding that 3 new localities, however, will be isolated from tomorrow. Now, on another note, health authorities say that Sri Lanka's COVID-19 fatality rate is far less when compared to other countries battling the virus. Deputy Director General of Public Health Services Dr. Hemantha Herath insists that Sri Lanka's comparative low number of deaths is no coincidence but the result of government action to mitigate the spread of the coronavirus to high-risk groups in society. Now, with the virus situation still persisting, the governor of the Eastern Province said that all schools in the Trincomalee education zone will be closed until further notice. Now, all schools in the Gaul Education Division too will be closed until the new year.
Sri Lanka's total COVID-19 death toll rose to 171 after 6 fatalities were reported yesterday. 3 of the victims were men, while the other 3 are women. All the victims were above the age of 65 except for one who was 39 years old. The 39-year-old victim had died due to septicemia, COVID-19 pneumonia and internal organ failure. According to the Department of Government Information, the cause of death of the other victims was stated as diabetes, high blood pressure, COVID pneumonia and heart ailments.
I also want to emphasize that our case fatality rate, that is compared to the number of cases, the number of deaths are relatively low, and this is much incompatible with most of the countries which have successfully controlled the disease compared to others who are struggling to control it. And this is mainly because still we have managed to confine our cases to a relatively young age group, and also we are trying our best to prevent this disease going into the high risk groups like elderly people and also the people with other diseases. And as a result, we have been able to maintain this so-called very low case fatality rate. And sometimes people use the same argument to ask for relaxation because we have high number of cases and less deaths, and why should we take this disease seriously? But we have to keep in our mind that our death rates are not because of any natural thing, but because we are taking every possible efforts to control it and then to prevent the disease going into vulnerable groups. So therefore, relaxation, if at all, if we are going to do, need to be done after scientific evaluation and under very controlled conditions.
In the meantime, the country's active COVID-19 caseload rose by 262. 232 of them are persons related to those already infected with the virus, while 30 are prison inmates. However, 618 coronavirus infections were reported from 17 districts of the country yesterday. 241 of yesterday's infections were attributed to the Colombo district, with the areas Borella, Grand Pass, Slave Island, Vellavatta, Mattakulya, Maradana and Blue reporting the highest cases from the district. The Kaluthara district recorded 120 infections, recording the highest number of coronavirus infections reported yesterday. Meanwhile, 99 cases were confirmed from Gampa, 45 from Gaul, 33 from Kandy, while 27 infections were confirmed from Ratnapura. A further 53 cases were reported across 11 other districts. In the meantime, travel restrictions were imposed on 3 Grama divisions in the area of Magona in Beruwala. Accordingly, travel restrictions have been imposed on Magona East, Magona West and Akkaramalai Grama divisions. The head of the National Operations Centre for the Prevention of COVID-19, Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva, stated that 2 areas in Indurua have also been placed under isolation with immediate effect. As such, Thundua East and Thundua West Gramanildara divisions will be under isolation until further notice. In another development, the Secretary to the Ministry of Education in the Southern Province, Ranjit Yapa, said that all schools in the Gaul Education Division will remain closed until the new term in 2021. He points out that 23 schools belonging to the Gaul Education Division have been closed in this manner, and it is planned to commence academic activities in those schools from next year.
There has been a request to allow the tuition classes to start, and this is being discussed, and that will be again seriously considered by the government to make sure that if that is being allowed, there will be least damage or adverse effects to the public and the society at large, as well as to the students who will be participating in these processes. And there has been certain reports that a large number of students are admitted to hospitals with eye-related problems to the eye clinics, and some people are speculating whether this is due to the online education, but we cannot say or conclusively give an opinion in this regard at this moment. Firstly, we have to verify whether such reports are there, and if such increase is there, we'll have to again scientifically evaluate and see whether there is any relationship to this mode of education and the complaints made by the students. So that will be done by the Ministry of Health as and when it is confirmed that there has been an excess number of complaints from students related to their eyesight or related to their vision.
In the meantime, Chief of the NOC-POC, Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva, announced this evening that the status of isolation will be lifted from the areas of Salamulla and Kokila Road in Vellampitiya, Naidu in Keravalapitiya Gramaniladara Division, Gangaboda in the Gangaboda Gramaniladara Division, and Velagadara in the Velagoda Gramaniladara Division from 5 am tomorrow. However, the areas of Nelligahavatta and Purana Kotuvatta in Paliagoda Gramaniladara Division and Sri Jayanti Mavata in Velagadara North Gramaniladara Division will in contrast be isolated from 5 am tomorrow.
Safeguard hand sanitizer නවතම නිෂ්පාදන පෙළ නීරෝගිමත් දිවයකට ලංකාවේ පළමු වරට හඳුන්වා දෙන Melbourne Veggie Cracker.
Crunchy veggie.
Now, tourists from Kazakhstan, Ukraine and Russia will be the first travelers to arrive in Sri Lanka in the new normal. Chairman of the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka, Premadasa, confirmed that a tour company has been given the go-ahead to fly them to the island once the airports reopen for commercial flights on the 26th of this month. He added that Sri Lankan expatriates too will have the freedom to arrive in the island without seeking special approval from the Foreign Ministry thereafter.
The 26 arrivals, we have already given the approval for some charter flights. And 3 countries are involved, that's Kazakhstan, Ukraine and Russia. How many are coming in and then the mechanism, where they're going to stay, I don't know at present because we have only given the approval for the tour company. The airport was open for like charter flights, emergency and medical grounds, special handling. The airports are open based upon those needs. But for commercial travel, we closed the airport on the 19th of March. Following that closure, or I would say suspension, this is the first time that we are opening for tourists.
Meanwhile, CAASL chairman also went on to say that Sri Lankan expatriates overseas will no longer require special approval from the Foreign Ministry to arrive in the island after the airport reopens for commercial flights on the 26th of December.
June 26th, 6th of December, Foreign Ministry will not issue directives or advice for the passengers to land. So any Sri Lankan living overseas does not require to write to the Foreign Ministry requesting approval to land in Sri Lanka. They can buy a ticket and come, but airlines will have the standard, normal, restricted passenger amount given by the Civil Aviation. Based upon the requirement of the Health Ministry, Civil Aviation has assigned or allocated airlines what numbers they could bring daily. So that will remain the same.
Now, the last historic and rare celestial event due to take place this year will happen tomorrow, when the distance between our solar system's gas giants Jupiter and Saturn reduced to merely 0.1 degrees, which is just 1/5 of the diameter of a full moon. The 20-year occurrence of the great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction had previously gotten this close in the year 1623. 14 years out, Italian astronomer Galileo made his first telescope.
The Jupiter-Saturn Great Conjunction that takes place every 20 years will take place this year at a closer proximity, with the distance between the planets set to be 0.1 degrees tomorrow. The celestial event will be observable in the western sky over the horizon, marking a historic and rare moment, as the conjunction this close had only taken place 397 years ago.
If you have clear skies, just after the sunset, you can observe Jupiter and the Saturn. They are very close to each other in the western sky, 30 to 25 degrees above the horizon. 21st December, this is on Monday, the separation between these planets becomes at its minimum level. This is 0.1 degrees in the sky. So this is very rare event, and this phenomenon is known as the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and the Saturn. Jupiter and the Saturn Great Conjunction occurs once in 20 years, but this type of close proximity occurred after 397 years. Last happened in 1623. The next observable close proximity, Jupiter and the Saturn Great Conjunction, you can observe in 2080.
Police Narcotic Bureau uncovered a large-scale drug racket yesterday and took 3 suspects into custody. One of the suspects arrested is the deceased underworld figure Sotyupali's daughter, but the police said that the mastermind of the racket is in Dubai. Police media spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohan has said that measures have been taken to ensure the arrest of the relevant suspect with the assistance of the Interpol.
A special search operation was conducted by the officers of the Police Narcotic Bureau last evening following a tip-off of a large-scale drug racket. Accordingly, a 38-year-old suspect was arrested from Nugegoda. It was then revealed that she is the daughter of the deceased criminal gang leader Sotyupali. Following her interrogations, 2 other suspects, aged 27 and 29, were arrested from the areas of Talangama North and Hevagama in Kaduwela. Then the Police Narcotic Bureau conducted a search operation at a residence owned by the 29-year-old suspect in Malabe and discovered a sum of 59,051,820,000 rupees in cash hidden inside an Almera. This is considered as the largest sum of money seized from the possession of a suspect involved in a drug racket in the recent past. Furthermore, the PNB officers also seized a total of 310 grams of heroin from the possession of the suspects.
These suspects are being interrogated and they were produced before the respective magistrates of Nugegoda and Kaduwela, and the PNB made a request from the court to permit PNB to detain them for a period of 7 days in terms of the provisions of the Dangerous Drugs Ordinance. The respective courts have allowed the application made by Police Narcotic Bureau. Therefore, the suspects would be detained in the Police Narcotic Bureau for a period of 7 days for further investigations. In the same raid, the PNB recovered 59 million rupees, and accordingly, the Criminal Investigation Department has also initiated a separate investigation against the suspect under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act in order to ascertain how this particular person earned this money and the other activities in respect of money laundering.
The police media spokesperson went on to say that the chief suspect behind the drug racket is currently residing in Dubai.
It has been revealed that the main drug trafficker is originally from Waligame area and at present he is in Dubai. Therefore, the Police Narcotic Bureau is obtaining assistance from Interpol, and apart from that, diplomatic missions in order to apprehend the suspect. Further investigations are being continued by Police Narcotics Bureau.
In the meantime, vehicles entering the western province from the Kochikade bridge in Negombo were subjected to special inspection in order to nab the suspects that transport narcotics. The inspection was conducted by police with the aid of the Police Kennels Division of Chilau and Negombo.
Now, Ambassador of the Vatican Archbishop Brian Ngozi Daigwe called on Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at the ministry recently. Minister Gunawardena had referred to the close and cordial relations between Sri Lanka and the Holy See and had recalled the visit of Pope Francis to Sri Lanka. The Foreign Minister had appreciated the assistance provided by the Holy See and the Catholic Church in Sri Lanka in the field of education, poverty alleviation and social services. He had also discussed closer cooperation between the two countries at international level on environmental issues and challenges faced by developing countries in the COVID-19 context. The Foreign Minister had informed that the government of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has taken immediate action to concurrently accredit the Sri Lanka ambassador in Geneva to the Holy See. It was also noted that since 2018, there has been no accredited ambassador of Sri Lanka to the Holy See. Ambassador of the Vatican Archbishop Udaigwe, meanwhile, had appreciated the discussion, or more like decision, of the government to restore the concurrent accreditation. Now, in other local news, the National Building Research Organisation has issued landslide warnings today for several areas in 3 districts. Accordingly, warnings have been issued to the areas of Doluwa and Ududumbara in the Kandy district and Naula in the Matale district. Furthermore, the Walapane area in the Nuwara district has also been issued with a landslide warning this evening. With this, the NBRO urges public to pay attention to pre-landslide signs and move into safe zones in order to avoid any casualty. We will see you once more after this break. Stay with us.
Ceylon Bank, the bank with a heart.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa is critical of the former regime for halting the projects already launched, leading to delays and forcing the incoming government to restart from scratch. Addressing an event, the Prime Minister also pledged to extend the Central Expressway to Dambulla as intended in the original plans.
The distribution of Ranbima land deeds in the northwestern province was worked off in Kurunegala yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. 400 land deeds were presented during the event.
කුරුණෑගලට ඇවිල්ලා අපි නුවරට යන අධිවේගී මාර්ගය ආරම්භ කරන්න පියවර තැබුවා. ඒ අධිවේගී මාර්ගය දඹුල්ල දක්වා දික් කිරීම අපි ඇමතුමා ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා. අපි ඒක අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ඉටු කරලා දෙනවා කියන එක අපි තමුන්වහන්සේලාට මතක් කරන්න ඕනේ. විශේෂයෙන් අපේ ආණ්ඩුව අපි වැඩ කරනවා. ඒ වැඩ කරගෙන යනකොට ජනතාව ඊළඟට අනිත් ආණ්ඩුවට UMP ආණ්ඩුවකට බලය දෙනවා. බලය දුන්නායින් පස්සේ උන් ඒ අපි කරපු වැඩ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම නතර කරනවා. ඒවා වෙනත් විදියට කටයුතු කරන්න සූදානම් වෙනවා. ඒක තුලදී ඇති වෙන්නේ අපිට නැවත බලය ඇවිල්ලා අපි අර කරගෙන ආපු වැඩ කොටස නතර වෙච්ච කෙනා ඒවම තියලා තමයි ඒ කට්ටිය ආපහු යන්නේ. ඉතින් අපිට ඒක මුල ඉඳලම කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙලා තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් දඹුල්ලට හදිවේගී මාර්ගය හැදෙන්නේ වක් ඉස්සර. ඒ තත්ත්වය තමයි ඇති වෙන්න තිබුණේ. මුත් ඒවා කෙරුණේ නැහැ. අපි කරන හැම ක්‍රියාවක්ම විරුද්ධ වාදීන් විවේචනය කරනවා. හොඳ වැඩක් කරත් විවේචනය කරනවා. නරක වැඩක් කරත් විවේචනය කරනවා. ඉතින් හොඳයි නරක වැඩ කරොත් අපි විවේචනයේ ලක් විය යුතුයි. මුත් හොඳ වැඩක් කරාම ඒක අගය කරන්න උන්ට පුළුවන් කමක් නැහැ. ඒකයි කනගාටුවට කාරණා.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister also inaugurated the Dr. Ronald Silva Mural Paintings Conservation and Research Centre, which was built by the Central Cultural Fund in Dambulla today.
In the meantime, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa is intent on being the voice of the farming community in the parliament. During an event in Badulla, Premadasa spoke with members of the farming community there and told them that his audience with them is the mobile service he promised during the presidential election.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa had a discussion with the farming community in the areas of Badulla, Uva Paranagama and Namagasdova.
පෞගිය කාලේ සිද්ධීන් අමතක කරන් අපිට බීජ අර්ථාපල් හොන්රයක් මේට ගේනකොට පියල් 18500ක් වගේ මිලක් වෙනවා. මීට පෙර තිබුණු ගාන කීය? 10000 12000ක් අතර වගේ තමයි තිබුණේ. ඊට වැඩි බරපතලම ප්‍රශ්නේ පොහොර ටිකක් හොයාගන්න නැතුව ගොවියා අසරණ වෙලා ඉන්නේ. දැන් මාසයක් විතර සල්ලි බැඳලා ගොවියෝ බලාගෙන ඉන්න ඕන පොහොර ගන්න.
අර්ථාපල් වලට මොකද සාධාරණ මිල?
අපි සාකච්ඡා කරේ දා පාර්ලිමේන්තු කළු ශාලාවටත් ගිහිල්ලා රුපියල් 100ක්.
දැන් 100ට වැඩි හම්බ වෙනවනේ.
දැන් වෙලෙන්දා තමයි තීරණය මිල තීරණය කරන්නේ.
දැන් ලීක්ස් යනවා 20ට
රුපියල් 20යි. කැරට් රුපියල් 50යි ගෝවා 12යි 15යි.
විපක්ෂ නායකවරයා හැටියට ජනතා ප්‍රශ්න පිළිබඳව පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තුළ ලොකු හඬක් නගන්නට පුළුවන්. වගාවට යන යෙදවුම් මිල නිෂ්පාදන මිලේ වර්ධනයක් සිදු වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ වගේම පොහොරවල ලොකු අගහිඟතාවයක් තිබෙනවා. වෙළඳසැල්වලත් පොහොර නොමැති බරපතල ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබෙනවා. ඒත් වශයෙන්ම මේ පවත්වන්නේ එක්තරා අතකින් විපක්ෂ නායක ජංගම සේවයක්. පහුගිය ජනාධිපතිවරණයේදී මම ප්‍රකාශ කරා ජනතාවගේ කකුල් දෙක ළඟට ඇවිල්ලා ප්‍රශ්න විසඳනවායි කියලා. දෙපතුල ළඟට එනවායි කිව්වා. දැන් මම තමුන්නාසලාගෙන් අහන්න කැමති ජනතාවගේ දෙපතුල ළඟට එන එක හොඳද නරකද?
Former Minister Mangala Samaravira is critical of some members of the opposition for attempting to adopt a Sinhala Buddhist political ideology. Addressing a conference today, he added that the mandate given by the people to the current president and the government would have been far greater had it not been for the electoral system presently in play.
A conference was worked off today with the patronage of former Minister Mangala Samaravira, titled New Beginning of a New Hope.
ජනාධිපතිවරණයක් තිබුවා මම නියෝජනය කරන කඳවුර එම කඳවුරේ අපේක්ෂකයන් ඒ හරහා මමත් අන්ත පරාජයකට පත් කරා. පෙරදුනා විතරක් නෙමෙයි අන්තිමට උදේ වෙනකොට ගණන් බල බල ඉන්න හිතුන්නේ නැහැ. ඇඳේ අනිත් පැත්තට රෝල් වෙලා බුදිය ගත්තා. කෙසේ වෙතත් අපේ අනිත් අපේක්ෂකයාට විශාල විශිෂ්ට ජයග්‍රහණයක් ලබා දුන්නා. පත් කරගත්තායින් පස්සේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ 3-2 ඉල්ලුවා. ඒකත් මේ තියෙන මැතිවරණ ක්‍රමය නිසා තමයි 3-2ක් ලැබුණේ. ආසන ක්‍රමය වැරදිලාවක් තිබුණා නම් ජේ.ආර්. ජයවර්ධනටත් වඩා වැඩි ශක්තිමත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂට ලබා දීලා ඉතාමත්ම ශක්තිමත් බලවත් ආණ්ඩුවක් සහ ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් අපිට ලැබිලා තියෙනවා. දැන් ඡන්ද ඉවර වෙලා මාස 4යි. දැන් සර්ෆේල් කියලා හිතාගෙන විපක්ෂයේ ඉන්න සමහරුත් දැන් ඒ සර්ගේ සපත්තු දෙකට බැහැලා සර්ට වඩා හොඳ සිංහල බෞද්ධ තනි ආණ්ඩුවක් කරගෙන යන්න Tamanta පුළුවන් කියලා විපක්ෂයේ සමහරුනුත් මේ වෙනකොට අලුත් සූට් මහනවා දත් මදිනවා. හැබැයි මිත්‍රවරුනි මම කියනවා සර් නෙමෙයි ෆේල්. නියෝජනය කරන දේශපාලන මතවාදයයි මේ වෙලේ මේ රටේ ෆේල් වෙලා අපේ මතවාදය වෙනස් නොකර ගෝඨාභය වෙනුවට තව කෙනෙක් ගෙනාවත් ඔය කතාවමයි ඉස්සරහට ඇදලා යන්නේ. අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ ලිබරල් ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය. මේ රටට එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය අවශ්‍යයි. එච්චරයි මම කියන්නේ.
We will see you shortly. Bear with us. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena had addressed the Global Business Summit 2020 recently, saying the government has recognized that the 21st century is defined by knowledge and innovation. The minister had addressed the virtual summit under e-governance and cybersecurity. Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena had represented Sri Lanka at the Global Business Summit 2020 recently. The summit was co-hosted by the governments of Estonia and the United Arab Emirates. Addressing the summit under e-governance and cybersecurity, Foreign Minister Gunawardena had highlighted that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has envisioned a people-centric and knowledge-driven new beginning for Sri Lanka, recognizing that the 21st century was defined by knowledge and innovation. The Foreign Minister had provided an overview of Sri Lanka's digital government architecture designed to address the needs of multiple layers of customers whilst ensuring that such services were effective, transparent and corruption-free. He had noted that work was already underway to develop the unique digital ID relating to biographic and biometric data, the centerpiece of a citizen-centric digital regime earmarked for completion by mid-2021. Services covered by e-governance would be in the education, health, transportation, immigration and immigration, registration of persons and companies, motor traffic, income tax and local government sectors, and the Foreign Minister underlined that e-governance, e-commerce and e-medicine and such digitalization would define the new normal in the post-COVID-19 global landscape. highlighting that Sri Lanka was the first country in South Asia to become a state party to the Budapest Cybercrime Convention. Minister Gunawardena had shared that the Sri Lanka Centre for Cybersecurity, in consultation with ICT Agency of Sri Lanka, has issued mandatory cybersecurity guidelines for work from home, as the transition had led to a surge in cyber attacks, phishing scams and such malicious activity. In the meantime, Ambassador of Thailand in Sri Lanka, Chulamani Chatswan, had also paid a courtesy call on Foreign Minister Dinesh Gunawardena recently and discussed ways of working closely in regional and international fora with a view of facilitating enhanced business cooperation. The Thai ambassador had reiterated that both countries have taken a common position in BIMSTEC and is looking forward to working with Sri Lanka, while expressing hope that the summit will be held soon in Colombo. The ambassador had also noted that Thailand investors are keen to commence an investment project on sugar plantation in Vaunia, which is underway. She added that during the visit of Prime Minister of Thailand in July 2018, the MOU on Strategic Economic Partnership was signed. This cooperation underlines 10 sectors such as infrastructure, agro-industry, fisheries, gem and jewellery, tourism, SMEs, financial cooperation, packaging industries, IT sector development and other sectors of mutual economic interest. Minister Gunawardena had vowed that Sri Lanka will make the maximum use of the Strategic Economic Partnership to widen business links between Sri Lanka and Thailand. Now, with the dawn of a new week at the Colombo Bourse from tomorrow, a dull sentiment is expected at the Colombo stock market owing to the arrival of the festive season. Sri Lanka's stocks closed 0.11% down last Friday, with the all-share price index falling 7.20 points to close at 6,616.95. Now, here's Achyutan Srirangan with a brief report on what to expect in the market during the week ahead.
We expect the market will go to the dull sentiment for the next couple of weeks actually, because we are going into the year end. We've seen market turnover is an average for last 4 months more than 3 billion, but for the last couple of days we've seen the turnover posting, because last Friday the turnover posting a less than 2 billion. It's worth like a 3 weeks low, and we might see that kind of activity continuously. This opportunity will create a bargain hunting opportunity to the people who can buy the stock in the future. Most of the activity mainly will go into the banking counters and food and beverage counters in the coming weeks as well, which we seen as some sort of profit taking in the banking sector.
The World Health Organization says that a team led by the UN agency would be going to China in the first week of next year, or more like January next year, to investigate the origins of the coronavirus pandemic.
The team will visit Wuhan. That's the purpose of the mission. Clearly, the team will pass through and by Beijing, as is the necessary part of any mission that's considered to be a joint approach. And we will show good courtesy to our colleagues in China in doing that. But the purpose of the mission is to go to the original point at which human cases were detected. The next 3 to 6 months are going to be tough. Countries are going that currently have intense community transmission are likely for that transmission to intensify. Countries that have had good control on the disease may struggle to maintain that control on the disease, and you've seen that in a number of countries. Even in East Asian countries that have done well up to now, they are really having difficulties in containing certain, particularly urban outbreaks at the moment. So past success is no guarantee of future success. Past failure is no guarantee of future failure. It is really what you do now, what everyone does now.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.